gave you the recording permissions for some of you people, okay, but still not recording. I'm not sure why you're not recording. Okay, it is better to record, guys. Okay, fine. Why? Because it may take for me, it may take time for me to send the recordings and all. Right? Okay, only don't depend on my recordings. Okay, just you have to record from your side. My recordings will be helpful for you, just an addition. Okay, fine. Right, so let me do the failover. Okay, how can we do the failover? Before doing the failover, the best practice is, okay, you have to run the backup job, copy job, and restore jobs manually before doing the failover. Manually, you have to run these three jobs. Okay, then in case if you can see, for example, now at 7:42, right? At 7:42. Again, the job will run at 8 o'clock, server time 8 o'clock, right? So 7:45, sorry, not 8 o'clock, 7:45 will run. Last time when it run, it's 7:30. 7:30 to 7:42. Now I'm going to do the failover, right? So what about that 12 minutes data? 7:30 to 7:42. This 12 minutes data we are going to lose, right? So that's why what I'm going to do, I'm going to run all the jobs manually before doing the failover. Okay, so let me run it manually. Start job, you know, right, how to run the job manually, right? We have discussed, right? Once you run this job, what you can do is, again, if you don't disable it before doing failover itself, it will generate a log backup. So what you can do is just disable the log backup job. Right now it won't generate any log backups, and again you have to ask application team to stop the application. Right, before doing the failover, you have to inform application team, so they are going to stop their application. Right, fine. So now what you can do is, you have to run this copy job and restore job manually. Right click, start job at step, done. And just restore this job as well, like run this restore job as well. So once you just run this, okay, all the jobs, once you have completed running all the jobs, then what you can do is, you have to run restore query. You can see here, right, we just changed the state, okay, from what, no recovery mode to standby mode, right? So don't think because of running jobs the database state has been changed. No, I just changed the state of the database to show you the, to just explain. Can you allow me record, Raja? Okay, 1 minute. Okay, Raja, you joined from two devices, huh? Yeah, you can record. Right, so just to show you, just to explain about tough file, okay, I just changed no recovery to standby state. Okay, the secondary state from no recovery to standby, then the database state is changed, okay, to standby state. So you can see here, right? So not because of backup, copy and restoring jobs, okay, it just changed manually. Right now what I can do, open a new query window from node 2. So now tell me, guys, what I have to do, how to bring the database online.
With recovery,
What is the query?
restore database name with
Okay.
recovery.
Okay. So let me run that query. Restore database logship DB with recovery. Okay. Just run it. Right. And you can see it was successful. Just restore it. Now the secondary is online. Once the secondary is online, we'll ask application team to change the connection string from primary to secondary. We'll ask application team to start the application. So now node 2 became primary, your node 1. Node 1 won't become secondary, I'll tell you. Now, till now node 1 is primary, right? Till now node 1 is primary. Okay, for the safety, we used node 2, right? For standby, we used node 2 as a standby server. Now node 2 became primary. So automatically node 1 won't become secondary. When it will become secondary, guys, tell me. Now what I have to do, that's it. Log shipping is completed.
Doing reverse log shipping.
Very good. Okay, so that is what, okay, we have to discuss. But I don't show you reverse log shipping. Just one point about reverse log shipping. Right. Till now, till now, this is our primary database. Okay, till now, this is our primary database. For primary database, we have a secondary database. Why we have secondary database? If something happened to my primary database, my secondary database is going to save me, right? Now, as discussed, something happened to my database. I'm unable to fix issue where it is exactly what is the problem and all. Now, what I did is I just simply, okay, fail over the application from my, okay, primary to secondary. Now this became primary. Okay, now this database became primary, right? Again, for this database, I should have standby, right? Till this moment, this secondary database saved us. Something happened to my particular primary database. Now what we did is we just did the failover, so the secondary database saved us. But what happened to this database in case if something happened to this database? If something happened to this database, who is going to save us? Tell me, who is going to save us if something happened to this database?
Again, first one is
How the first one will save us? We just configured backups from first one to second one, copy from first one to second one, restore from first one to second one. We haven't configured backup from second one to first one, copy from second one to first one, restore from second one to first one, right? How it is going to synchronize the data in this situation?
again we have to configure
Very good.
more
Okay.
things.
Again, we
Switch
have to
overs.
configure. Not switch over. Switch over is not possible now. Application connected to the primary database. Now this is primary. Earlier, if it is primary, you had a secondary database, this one. Now this is primary. Don't think this is your complete secondary database. Data is not synchronizing now. You have to make sure data is synchronizing before switchover. Yes, switchover is the final option, but before switchover, make sure data is synchronizing. Okay, then what we have to do, guys? We have to configure reverse log shipping. What we have to do? We have to configure reverse log shipping. Reverse log shipping means what? Can anyone tell me? What is meant by reverse log shipping?
From secondary to
Hmm.
primary, sir, we
So
can configure.
can anyone help me how to do the reverse log shipping? Can anyone tell me how to do the reverse log shipping, guys? How to do the reverse log shipping? Any idea, Nagras?
No.
Nothing is there, guys. Same thing what you did here earlier before configuring log
Copy
shipping.
and
What you did
copy
here,
and
same things you have to do here. What you did here, same things you have to do here. Right, earlier, this is my primary. So you configured backup job in the primary. You created shared folder in the primary and you just created local folder in the secondary and you configured copy job and restore job in the secondary. Now imagine the roles are going to be exchanged. Okay, now this is my primary. This is my secondary. What I have to do? I have to create shared
copy
folder
jobs.
here. I have to create shared folder here. I have to create local folder here. Okay, I have to create local folder and I have to create shared folder here. Okay, and backup copy job and restore job will be here. And your backup job will be here. Okay, now if you see, both servers look like same, right? So if anyone asked you how many jobs will be there in the primary server, how many jobs will be there in the secondary server, what is your answer? If you configure reverse log shipping,
Then primary one backup job and alert job. Secondary
Yes,
copy
secondary,
and restore job. Copy and
same,
restore job.
same
Same,
thing.
sir.
Okay,
Yes.
same. So nothing. So earlier, guys, this is my node one. What I did, I just created shared folder in the node one, and I just created local folder in the node two. Then I started going to these properties of this primary database. Then I just configured log shipping and all. Right? I just configure log shipping. Now this is my node one. Imagine this is my node one. Imagine this is my node one. Whatever steps you did earlier, same steps you have to do here. Now in the node 2, you have to create shared folder. In the node 1, you have to create local folder. Now, I'm sorry. Now go to the properties of this database. Now you have to go to the transaction log shipping. Now you have to enable it. Okay, now you have to give backup settings. Okay, now you have to give backup settings and all, and you have to add your secondary server as node 1. Here you have to add your secondary server, and then copy restore jobs you are going to configure, then click OK automatically. Okay, reverse log, just log shipping you are doing in a reverse way. That is called reverse log shipping, guys. Sometimes in the interview they will ask you what is meant by reverse log shipping. Just a log shipping. Once the failover is done, for safety of the new secondary server or new primary server, I am going to create log shipping again in a reverse way. That is called reverse log shipping. Nothing, no extra thing we are going to do here. Simply whatever things we did on node 1, we'll do it on node 2. What we did on node 2, we'll do it on node 1. That's it. That is called reverse log shipping. Right? Fine, guys, everyone. Any issues, any doubts? Any doubts, guys?
No.
Right. Okay, so that's it for log shipping. That's it from log shipping side. And let me jump into the mirroring. Okay, so we'll discuss about the mirroring. And if there is a time, we'll discuss about the demo also. I'll show you how to do the mirroring and all. So let me draw the diagram first. Mirroring is simple, guys. Very simple. Easy to configure. First thing, easy to maintain. Lot of advantages are there when compared to your log shipping. Easy to failover, automatic failover. Lot of things are there. I'll explain. Okay. And this is my primary server, node 1. I can call it as a principal server. Okay. Node 1. So usually in the mirroring setup, we'll call primary server as a principal server. This is my principal server, primary. Node 1 will act as a principal server. And node 2 will act as a mirror server, guys. Mirror server. Secondary will call the server. Secondary server usually in the log shipping will call primary, okay, as a primary server, secondary as a secondary server, right? In the mirroring, we'll call primary principal server, secondary mirror server. Okay, so we'll call like that. So this is my principal server and this is my mirror server. Fine. And let me go with the database. This is also database level high availability feature only. Okay, your mirroring is also database level feature only. And let me go with this one. Eh, array. Fine. This is my principal database. The database which is hosting in the principal server is called principal database, which is hosting in the mirror server is called mirror database. Server is mirror server, server is principal server, database principal database, database mirror database. Okay, right. So let me name this topic as mirroring. Very easy, guys. Very easy to understand also. Okay. So you don't face any difficulties here. Let me go with the pipe symbol. Pipe, pipe. Right. Okay. Fine. Let me 5022. There is one direct arrow button is there. What is missing? Okay, that's fine. Right. So this is called mirroring setup. I'll explain. So in the mirroring, there is no headache of jobs and all. There is no job concept in the mirroring. Okay. So, but in the mirroring, how the data is going to be synchronized between your principal server and mirror server using a separate channel, Okay. Right. So what happened in the mirroring, I'll explain. Right. Same server, right? You can see the servers. First of all, what is the advantages with the mirroring? What are the advantages with the mirroring? What are the disadvantages are there in the log shipping? Those are the advantages in the mirroring, guys. Okay. In the log shipping, we have a biggest disadvantage is latency. It will take almost 30 minutes to synchronize a record between your primary to secondary server. But that can be achieved in the mirroring. Okay, that can be achieved in the mirroring. In the mirroring, okay, so latency is very 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 less, guys. Very less, very less. Okay, immediately the record is going to be synchronized from your principal database to mirror database immediately. Immediately, let me draw this one. Okay. Okay, so this is your application. Application might be anything. Okay, internal application, external application, it might be anything, right? So this is your application. Okay, usually primary, in the log shipping, application will be connected to the primary, right? In the mirroring, always application will be connected to the principal. To which database server the application is connected, that database server we are going to connect, we are going to call it as a principal database server. Okay, in the mirroring, we'll call the main server as a principal server. Usually application will be connected to the principal server only, right? If any transaction comes like this from your application, if any transaction comes, okay, right, immediately that transaction will send to the endpoints. Endpoint is a special entry points. Endpoints are nothing but just an entry. I told you, right? uh, we are all having homes, right? For our home we have a main door, right? It's an entry point. Or we have a gate, right? It's an entry point into the house, right? In the same way, right, in the mirroring basically will work on endpoints only, right? Your transaction will send through the endpoints. And I told you, right, there is a separate channel will be created. This is the separate channel, and your transaction will send through toward this separate channel. And it is going to, like, again, okay, it will go to the endpoint of the second server. And from this endpoint the transaction will be moved to your secondary database immediately. This action is immediately, very quickly it will be done. The records are going to be synchronized in the mirroring, is very quick, immediate. No need to wait for the records. In the log shipping you have to wait till 30 minutes, but in the mirroring, within fraction of seconds the records are going to be synchronized from your principal to mirror database. And second disadvantage in the log shipping is failover. Okay, manual failover. But in the mirroring we have automatic failover, we have manual failover also. If you want to go for automatic failover, again there is a problem. You should have witness server. Okay, automatic failover can be done using witness error only. And guys, remember, this mirroring is very important, guys. Based on the mirroring only always on is configured. Okay, so if you just listen this, if you practice this mirroring properly, then immediately you can get the knowledge on the always on. Why? Because always on is an advanced version of mirroring. Advanced version of mirroring, same to same like mirroring only. Always on also same to same like mirroring. Some extra features are there in the always on, that I'll explain the always on topic, right? So again, if you want automatic failover, what is the problem? You have to maintain another separate SQL server. Okay, so that separate server means, this separate server, what it will do, it will just keep an eye on the prime principal and mirror servers. Okay, it will keep on monitoring. I symbol. Right. Okay. So what is your, this is your witness server, guys. It's not mandatory. It's not mandatory. So in case if you need automatic failover, right? What is meant by automatic failover? Suddenly this database is down, guys. Suddenly this was down. Okay, suddenly this was down and no one is there in the shift. Okay, so what happened? Your witness server is going to take care of it. Your witness server will make principal as mirror server, mirror as principal server. It is going to fail over the okay things. It is going to fail over the things. So it is going to exchange the roles. So your principal will be down and your mirror will be up and running. Okay, and mirror will become principal server and your application will be connected to your particular okay principal database, right? So it will be connected. So for that, if you need automatic failover, then you have to pay extra means again you have to install one more Windows server, you have to install one more SQL server, you have to pay licensing for both Windows and SQL servers, right? It's an extra cost. If you need of course, if you want extra features, you have to pay extra. So if you want automatic failover, you can go for witness server. And again, in the log shipping also, we have third server. What is the third server, guys? What is the third server name in the log shipping?
Monitor server.
Monitor server. Okay. Monitor server. But there is no use of monitor server. It is only going to monitor us. Okay. It will not helpful as witness server. But in the witness server, okay, it will help us to fail over the applications. An automatic failover is there in the mirroring. If something happened to your principal database, okay, your witness server will keep watching. Your witness server will keep watching your okay principal and mirror server, and your in case if something happened to principal server, automatically okay it will be fail over to your mirror server. So mirror will become principal and principal will become mirror. I'll show you. So failover is also very easy, guys. In case if it is not automatic failover, if you go for manual failover, it's very simple. Very simple. Within fraction of seconds you can fail over the things within fraction of seconds. Whereas in the log shipping, we have to stop the jobs, we have to run the jobs, we have to stop the jobs, and we have to run again. We have to run one more query on the secondary, right? Then only the secondary database will be available. And what is the advantage after that also? No, no, no. In my organization, we don't maintain witness servers, guys. Okay, we usually get alerts, and based on that, we are going to troubleshoot it. Okay, custom alerts again. There is no direct alert. We don't get alert from any mirroring and all. We'll configure custom alerts using custom scripts and all. Then, if something happened, we'll get like the data is not synchronizing between your principal and mirror. Then we'll get an alert. Okay, so like that, we have some custom alerts. So based on that, we are going to troubleshoot. In case if it is not working, we are going to fail over it. Fine, right? And what we are discussing, guys? What we are discussing? Yes, secondary, right? Mirror server. So here, if something happened and the data is going to be synchronized immediately, and we can do the failover immediately. Just a button, failover button. If you click on that failover button, automatically it will be failover to the mirror database. So mirror will become principal, and principal will become a mirror. And whereas in the log shipping, one of the biggest disadvantages is again you have to configure reverse log shipping. Whenever you do the failover in the log shipping, every time you have to go for reverse log shipping, guys. Every time you have to go for reverse log shipping. But whereas in the mirroring, there is no reverse mirroring. You can switch, you can fail over at any time. You can fail over the okay what we can say application between your principal and mirror server at any time. Just simple failover button, like you turn on turn off the fan, right? How you are going to turn on and turn off the fan or light switch. In the same way, you can simply switch between the principal and mirror server. Failover is very simple in the mirroring. Okay, maintenance is very simple in the mirroring. Okay, and records are going to be, data is also going to be synchronized quickly, and failover is also very easy. And if you want, if you have extra money, if you want to go for automatic failover, you can go for automatic failover as well, right? And let me explain three important terminologies in the mirroring. So what are those three? Can anyone tell me?
Sir, can we use it for reporting this mirroring?
No, no, no. Very good option. Okay. The when compared to log shipping, there is a disadvantage with the mirroring. We cannot use the secondary for reporting. Secondary state you don't see, like in the log shipping we have two secondary states. No recovery. Yes, no recovery mode and standby mode. Right. Secondary for the log shipping, but whereas in the mirroring, you cannot read. Okay, your secondary in the mirroring that can be achieved in the always on. I told you, right? For mirroring they added some features, then they just invented always on, right? That can be achieved using with your always on. In the always on, same concept will be there, Mirroring secondary is not readable. Always on secondary is readable. Okay. Right. Synchronous, there are two modes, three more. Actually, two modes are there. Synchronous with automatic failover, asynchronous mode. Okay, synchronous and asynchronous. Actual modes are synchronous and asynchronous. I'll explain what is meant by synchronous and asynchronous. Okay. Okay. So if you have witness server, we have synchronous with automatic failover, synchronous without automatic failover. Okay. Synchronous with automatic failover and synchronous without automatic failover. That's why we usually called three modes. Okay. One is synchronous with automatic failover, synchronous without automatic failover, asynchronous mode. These are the modes. Okay. In the interview, they will ask what are the modes of the mirroring. Okay. There are three modes. One is synchronous with automatic failover, synchronous without automatic failover, asynchronous mode. These modes we can also call it as high safety mode, high safety with automatic failover, high safety without automatic failover, high performance mode. Okay. So let me what we can do is right. Okay. So this is your synchronous means high safety, guys. That's it. Synchronous means high safety. So again, high safety with automatic failover, high safety without automatic failover. Okay. This is called your high safety. I'll just mention here high safety, right? And here, this is your high performance mode. I'll explain why we are going to call it as high safety, high performance. I'll explain. Okay, nothing to worry. Right? In high safety, we have to high safety with automatic failure, high safety without automatic failure, high performance. Only one asynchronous. Okay. So what is meant by synchronous? What is meant by asynchronous, guys? I'll explain. So I told you, right? The transaction will comes from your applications. Okay, and it will go to your principal database. Okay, right. How the data is going to be synchronized once the transaction comes from the application. Okay, in the synchronous mode, how it will work? First, the transaction will goes to your, once the transaction comes from application to principal database, first it will insert in the principal database log file only, but it won't commit here. Okay, it won't commit the when the transaction will be permanently saved. When the transaction is committed, then only the data will be permanently saved to the disk, right? Once the transaction comes from your principal database, from your application to principal database log file, the principal database will immediately send the transaction through endpoints, and the transaction will goes to the secondary, which is mirror server, and the transaction, that particular transaction will be applied or committed on the secondary database or mirror database first. In the synchronous mode, always the data will be committed on mirror database first. Then what mirror database will do? It will send an acknowledgement to the principal database. Hey, principal database, this particular transaction, what you just sent now is committed on my end. Please take care of it. Like that, mirror server will send an acknowledgement to this principal server. Then principal server will commit the transaction on the principal database. Until the transaction is going to be committed on the mirror database, the transaction won't be committed on the principal database, to make sure same data is synchronizing between the principal and mirror servers. So there is a safety for your data. There is a safety for your data. Okay. So whenever each transaction comes from the application, first it will goes to principal database log file, then principal database will send the transaction to the mirror database. The transaction will be committed on the mirror database first. Once it was committed, then again it will send a acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is must. Once it sends an acknowledgement to the principal database, then only the same transaction will be committed on the principal database. So first the transaction will be committed on which server?
Mirror server.
Mirror server. Okay, first the transaction will be committed on mirror server. Then once it sends an acknowledgement, then only the transaction, the same transaction will be committed on the principal. For example, okay, we have an employee table, right? So yesterday we just inserted one record, employee, Suresh employee. Okay, right? Suresh record comes to this from application side. You just inserted one record. Imagine application is your SSMS. Okay, you just inserted one record, so it went to your particular principal database. Then what it will do? Okay, chalo, one record came, right? So principal database will send that record through the endpoints. They both can communicate only through the endpoints, guys. They cannot communicate directly. There is no other way to communicate. Only through the endpoints they can communicate. So configuring mirroring means configuring endpoints. That's it. Mirroring configuration is very simple. Configuring mirroring means configuring endpoints. Very simple, right? So they both can communicate, principal server and mirror server. They both will communicate with the help of this separate channel. The transaction will be, okay, what we can say, moved. The transaction will be moved between these two servers using this separate channel and endpoints. Then the same Suresh transaction will comes to the secondary server and it will be committed. And then, okay, chalo, Suresh record is committed on my end. Okay, principal, you can commit the same record on your end. So principal database will commit the same Suresh record on the principal server. That is the synchronous. What is meant by asynchronous, guys? Can anyone tell me now?
No
Data
Asynchronous
will
acknowledgement.
acknowledgement is
commit.
not there.
Sorry.
Acknowledgement not sent from mirror
No
to
acknowledgement.
principal server.
Okay.
First data will commit in principal, then it will send to
Very
mirror.
good. Okay, the main point is not acknowledgement. Yes, that is important only, but commit in the synchronous. First, it will commit on secondary or mirror server, then it will be committed on principal server.